Land-sea interactions in maritime spatial planning is a very complex topic. How to interact with stakeholders, how to find them, how to engage them in the process. My name is Manuel Frias. I work at the HELCOM Secretariat and I will talk today about the Navigator, a tool we are building in the project Baltic Sea2Land. I'm going to explain what the Navigator is, but before that, I would like to talk to you about why are we doing it. You know, maritime spatial planning is a very complex topic, and planners, when doing their MSP plans, have to take into account what happens on land and at sea. There are many uses both on land and at sea. For example, we can find tourism, we can find shipping, we can find fishing activities, we can find energy, we can find nature protection areas. Also on land we can find industries, we can find people here living, businesses, infrastructure, like this. So when doing a plan, there are many stakeholders. And there are many stakeholders at several levels. It's not only the ones that are here at local level, these businesses and these people. We have to take into account what happens at regional level, also what happens at national level, and also at international level, what is beyond this. So there are many jurisdictions, there are many laws, there are many rules, sometimes and oftentimes overlapped. So this is complex. And what happens if planners don't find the right stakeholders? What happens if they don't communicate with them properly, if they don't engage them in their plans? What happens if they don't know how to listen to them? Well, it can happen at the end that the MSP plan is not optimal. So, what if we had a tool with which we could communicate and engage with the stakeholders? What if we had a tool with which we could find data in order to support this process of communication and engaging? And what if we had a tool where we could find information about plans, about best practices, etc.? This is what we are trying to do here. We're trying to summarize or to collect all these three basic pillars into one tool. But this is not easy. This is not easy because imagine that this is like putting together the pieces of a huge puzzle in which some pieces are missing. For example, in this case, the land-sea interaction, it's very important, and in many cases, these pieces are missing. So this is what we are trying. It's not easy, but we are working on it, and we already have something to show you. It's the Baltic Sea2Land Navigator. It's this one. It's already a prototype. It's already online in a prototype phase, and it has three tools inside the Navigator. The first one is the Multilevel Governance tool, which is a way to guide planners into the planning process, into the multi-level governance process. The second is the Data Hub to find data about the plans, and the third it's the Knowledge Hub to find data about, as I said, plans, best practices, methods, etc. Let me go through shortly these three of them. First, multi-level governance tool. Well, this is probably one of the most difficult parts. And I can explain it like this. Imagine that I have a friend. I have a friend whose name is Kai, and he's a maritime special planner. And he has a doubt. He has a problem. His problem is that is the plan fully understood by all stakeholders? He's asking himself. His plan is almost ready, but he's not sure. Is this fully understood? Has he explained properly to all the stakeholders in the process? Then there is another friend of mine called Maria. And Maria has another kind of problem, another kind of question. She's asking herself, where are the stakeholders? Where are the stakeholders that she needs to include in the plan? Well, let me focus on this Maria case. The multi-level governance tool is going to answer these two questions plus many more. It's going to be like a place where planners will find possible solutions to their problems. So let's stick first to Maria. Where are the stakeholders? How will this tool work? Well, the idea is that this tool is going to work like a workflow. Like, for example, if you have a question, you answer yes, you go here. If you answer no, you go here. For example, in the tool, it's going to be interactive. She's going to see this button and she's going to ask herself, do you know your stakeholders? And then Maria, if Maria answers yes, then no problem. Then she goes to the next step. Maybe she has another problem. But if she doesn't know her stakeholders, which is her actual problem now, then there will start a process of questions. First one, identify their sector. And here inside there will be tools to identify their sectors. This will be like the first step. You don't know your stakeholders, first identify them. Once this is ready, maybe there is another question about identify their level. Are we talking about local, regional, national, or international level? Next, it's going to be about identify their skills. Are we talking about people with a high level of education? Are we talking about some kind of other skills? Do they know about GIS, about the maps? These kind of questions. And then more and more and more until she gets a list of stakeholders. And she is at the end very happy because she has found the possible list of stakeholders that she needs to include in her plan. Okay, this is an example. This will be the same idea, interactive with buttons, with different tools inside. Okay, this is about the multi-level governance tool, but what about the rest? We have two more. We have the Data Hub and we have the Knowledge Hub. About this, I can show you because the prototype is ready and I can go to the service. Okay, so this is the Baltic Sea2Land Navigator, and as I told you, this is the multi-level governance tool. This is the Data Hub and this is the Knowledge Hub. So the Data Hub, what's inside here? In the Data Hub, there will be three tools. One, which is the geodata. The second is the interactive maps. And the third, the data visualization. Here we will see data that partners are providing. Here in interactive maps, it will be a place to collect ready-made maps. And this will be a place to collect dashboards, visualizations of economic data, etc. Let's have a look at the geodata. You're going to see an example, but at the end, this will be more complete with much more data. This is it. If I go here, we can go, for example, we have data here from Latvia, and this is data with which you can interact. You can interact with them here. You can click on them. You can see the different attributes of the table. You can open here what kind of data we have already, all these. You can, for example, go here and show the table of this one. You see the table. So it can be complex. There is a lot of information. Here you could even customize the appearance, the look of each layer, etc., etc. So think of it as a Google Maps with a lot of data that can be useful for the pilot. Okay, this is about the Navigator, the geodata. Second is the interactive maps, and here you will see ready-made maps. Now we have from Finland and one from Latvia. These are maps regarding plants. For example, let me show you this from Finland. So if you go here, then you will see the plan of this region. Okay, and here again you can interact with it and you can see different information. Let me go back. Here we have another example from Latvia, from Landsea Act project. It's a map explorer, but it's the same idea. And finally, we have the data visualization. And here we can have dashboards, data visualization. I have put here only a couple of examples that Helcom has made. Just as an example, we still don't have any data from the project, but just so that you know that how this could possibly look. It's data with maps, and it is all interactive. Everything is interactive, everything is connected. Maybe you get the idea. Okay, so this is about the data hub. But if we go back, we see the last part of the Navigator, which is the knowledge hub. What can we see in the knowledge hub? Here we can see terms, practices, methods, documents, etc. This can be bigger. We are just starting. Here, for example, in documents, we have different documents about country fisheries from the Helcom Vasa group, Estonian MSP, Lithuanian MSP. These are links to different plans and different documents. Okay. Right. So let me go back to the presentation, because once I've told you about the Navigator, I can tell you briefly who is in this project. In this project, we have partners from Finland, for example, the Regional Council Southwest, who is coordinating the work in the project from different regions in Finland. Here, here, and here. Then we have Estonia with the Tallinn University, and with the Saaremaa municipality. In Latvia, we have the Ministry of Environment and Regional Development, and we have the Kurseme region. We have in Lithuania, the Klaipėda Association, and we have in Poland, we have the Association of Polish Municipalities, IOPAN, which is the Institute for Oceanography, and then in Germany, we have BEF and the Fehmarn municipality. Very briefly also about what is our timeline. This year we are designing the Navigator, what you have seen. Next year, we will test the Navigator with partners. And finally, there will be a process to engage target group. So that's all. This is the Navigator. This is what I wanted to tell you. And possibly one important point here is that this will be hosted and maintained by Helcom. So at the end of the project, this is going to be hosted by Helcom so that it doesn't disappear after the project is over. And that's all. Just to summarize, a tool to communicate, engage stakeholders, to find special data, and to find information. And at the end, it's a tool to make Guy and Maria, who are maritime special planners, happy. So that's all. Thank you very much. Bye. Have a nice day.